2,000 subscribers special.
Hey guys, Crash Thompson. Haha! Saw y'all ass coming a mile.
You unbelievable shit stains.
Hey guys, wow, 2,000 subs. Holy God. I mean, the channel's growing so fast these days, I can barely keep up with it. But yeah, I just wanted to take a minute to say thanks again for all your support, everything you've been doing to help the show grow, to spread things around. It's really starting to pay off. It's really great, and I'm glad you guys are liking the content. I mean, so much cool stuff has happened over the past few months, and I honestly couldn't have done it without you, so seriously guys, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you so much. There is one thing I wanted to clear up before we moved on and got to the meat of things. These little subscriber specials, I wanted to clue you in as to how the process is kind of going to work. I don't want to flood you guys with these things, you know, I mean, as the channel grows, I definitely want to reach out and say thanks to those of you that have jumped on, but at the same time, I don't want to flood you with a load of, what's the word, bullshit? Subscriber specials are basically going to be relegated to, for lack of a better term, magic numbers. And those magic numbers are 1, 2, and 5. Every time we hit a 1, a 2, or a 5 in the major count, then we'll just take some time off and do a goofy little subscriber special. So that would mean the next one is going to be 5,000, the one after that is going to be 10,000, 20,000, 50. Wow, I'll be amazed if we get a quarter that far. But I just wanted to let you guys know that I won't be flooding the channels with these things or anything. You know, these are just goofy little asides to, you know, just take some time to relax and just for me to say thanks for everything you guys have contributed to the channel. Seriously. Your likes, your favorites, your subscriptions, your follows on Facebook and Twitter, just everything has been outstanding, and I don't know, I just want to say thanks, because you guys make this doing fun. Seriously. So, yeah. Okay, with that out of the way, let's finally get to the thing I promised I would do 4 months ago. Okay, first off, I want to answer the number one question that I get on every video that I upload, it seems.
What is your theme song?
That would be Lexicon Devil by The Germs. You can find both versions of the song, both the one I use for full episodes and the quickie version, on MIA The Complete Anthology. Seriously, it's a great record, and The Germs are a band you should totally be listening to if you aren't. Pick it up. I hope I don't get that question anymore, though I know I will.
Lately there have been some critics, columnists, and even musicians that are saying rock music is dead. Do you agree?
No, I think that Gene Simmons is an idiot. Guys, he just wants attention. Don't give it to him. Oh, hey, Gene, by the way, that Memorial Clover Z crossover? Bullshit! Trying to cash in on some of that baby metal money, are you? Ain't nothing baby metal, set baby metal, okay?
Now that the Rise and Fall of Weezer series is over, what are your plans for the channel?
This is actually a really good question. I will be doing full episodes again, though I can't necessarily say when the next one will be out. For now, I really want to focus on quickies, and I have a few other smaller projects in the works that I'm currently working on. So it might actually be a little while before you see another full episode, but I can at least guarantee you, like I mentioned before, it's going to be a lot shorter. Like, it's not going to be the hour-long fucking horrifying behemoth episodes. Dear Christ. But I haven't wholeheartedly decided what that'll be yet, actually. I'm thinking about doing a list of some kind, like my top 10 favorites episode. Lists are, let's face it, they're easy to make, and people tend to like lists, so I might do that. I'm thinking about doing, like, an editorial video of some kind, just something where I discuss, like, a very pertinent topic in rock or the rock world. I mean, is rock music dying out? God knows I could talk for a half hour about that alone. So, I don't know. I'm still kind of kickballing some ideas around. But I am open to suggestions too. If you want to leave something, feel free on any of my videos. I do read my comments. I don't have the time to respond to all of them. I apologize for that. But if you have a suggestion, feel free to leave it around. And who knows? I may like it and may incorporate it into a video. I mean, no promises, but hey, I love hearing your guys' feedback, so please, go nuts.
Are you planning on doing another Rise and Fall series on a different band?
Yeah, I'll probably do another Rise and Fall series someday. Honestly, though, it might not be for a little while. I just need to focus on videos that aren't going to kill me for a bit. For a bit, you know? Just for a bit. I mean, Rise and Fall of Weezer was a series that a lot of you enjoyed, and I definitely want to do something in that vein again. Plus, I can think of at least one band that really, really deserves that treatment.
Are you a musician yourself? If so, what instruments do you play, and can you read music?
Yes, actually, I do have a decent amount of experience as a musician. I've played guitar, rhythm and lead, bass guitar, vocals. I've actually had vocal training in both college and high school. I had a few voice lessons, and I was in various choirs and chorale groups, Christian school. I play a little bit of piano, but I haven't actually touched a keyboard in a really long time, so I'm probably rusty as fuck. Actually, that violin back there, I actually did, attempt to learn. I only learned a few basic songs. I didn't really get terribly far, and I was just never really great at violin. I think I can summarize why in 2 words. Hillshire Farm. Fucking sausage fingers. Look at this shit. Guitar, bass, and vocals were pretty much my big 3 when I was a more active musician. Never got into drums because I could never talk my parents into buying me a kit. Seriously, you young drummers out there, go right now and give your parents a high five for buying you that thing. You have no idea how lucky you are. But yeah, like I said before, I have a lot of vocal experience too. I sang in various praise and worship groups, chorale groups, choirs, all throughout my childhood and adolescence and everything. Basically, finding out I could sing at like a very, very young age was one of the first big things that helped me kind of stick out and helped me feel kind of, well, you know, when you're little, you're searching for that thing that kind of makes you special, that thing that makes you sort of unique amongst all the other kids. And finding out that I could sing was one of the first big things I ever really had. You know, so. Even in college, I briefly majored in music ed. Actually, fun fact, the reason, though, that I didn't follow through with it and just become a music major was because I had such a hard fucking time reading music. Even to this day, I don't know, if I can read tablature okay, I can read chord sheets, but just notes on a page, I don't know, for some reason I never got the hang of it. Pretty much every instrument I ever learned, apart from vocals, I had, like I mentioned before, I had some voice training and some other, various things to help there professionally. But every other instrument I've ever taken up, I've pretty much just learned it by ear, really. For some reason I just could never get the hang of reading music. But yeah, music has always been a pretty big factor in my life. Pretty much from when I was a child to my earliest bloody memories to now, music, either playing it, listening to it, or making goofy videos about it on the internet, it's always been an important thing for me. I always really loved it. And, apart from the various more professional stuff, all the various praise groups and choirs and whatnot, I was in an innumerable amount of garage bands growing up. Just way too many to even count. But, I mean, I think most of us have been in a band at some point. We all know how long those usually last, at least our first few. Hell, for a brief time after college, I couldn't find a band to actually get into at the time, so I just took an acoustic guitar and actually just did solo stuff for a little while. Just, various open mics and stuff. If you can actually believe this, it was actually more of a folk-tinged kind of thing. And it sucked. I actually still have some of the recordings. That might make for a good joke to release someday.
Is there anything out there that you would never do an episode on?
Yes. Lulu. Because
Do you have any guilty pleasures when it comes to music?
I'm not a very big fan of that term, really. I mean, yeah, there are some bands that I would be more proud to admit I liked than others, perhaps. But really, I don't know. I'm more of the mindset that if you like a band, then like it, Maybe some people dog you for it, but, well, fuck them, I mean, if you like something, it speaks to your personal experience. I mean, we all take in music differently. We all have different, we all come from different backgrounds, and we all have different life experiences. Things affect us all in different ways, and that includes music. And, I mean, there's just no way we're going to agree on everything, no matter how universally praised or universally reviled something may be. There's just going to be somebody who goes against the grain to say, hey, I really like this, or hey, I really hate that. I mean, there are people who hate Caddyshack, for God's sake. How do you fucking hate that movie? It's the best thing ever!
Hey, everybody, we're all gonna get laid!
I mean, if you've ever seen my closing tagline, the only opinion that really matters is your own, I stick by that. I mean, if you like something, then like it. You can like something better, or learn some of the drawbacks to the things you might like by studying, by analyzing the particular music you listen to, and by taking in the feedback of other people and understanding why it affects them in a different way. But at the end of the day, it's your opinion. Own up to it, I mean, the thing is, if you like something, don't let anybody tell you can't. That's my basic overall gist there. Don't let, snobby hipsters or stupid rednecks or, major music critics who know what they're talking about, or fat-ass YouTube critics who wear stupid hats and ramble on for too long. Definitely don't let them affect you. They're assholes. That actually might make for a good full episode too, so I might actually flesh that idea out further. Go into what some of my guilty pleasures actually are. But the thing is, as a term, guilty pleasure, I'm not a big fan of it. Like what you like.
How old are you?
Too fucking old, I can say that much. There's my birth date. Just do the math from there. I'm so close to 30, it fucking hurts.
Who are some of your inspirations, and who are some of your favorite video producers?
This actually is a very good question because I do have a lot of influences. I watch a lot of YouTube and other online video content. I'm kind of addicted to the shit. But if I had to name three, just the three who are probably the biggest influence to my particular style of content creation, I would say, in no particular order, the Nostalgia Critic, Doug Walker, Spoonie, over at the Spoonie Experiment, always loved his videos, and Yahtzee Croshaw and his Zero Punctuation series. Actually, My hat, one of the many reasons that I wear this hat is actually as a small nod to Yahtzee. But there are many, many others that I really enjoy, and I've even, drawn some inspiration from them as well. Guys like Red Letter Media, Pro Jared, Jontron, Brutal Moose, Kid Icarus, Kyle Calgren over at Shea Apocalypse. For real, if you guys aren't watching Brows Held High, you guys are so missing out. Seriously, the dude is insightful as fuck. Even if you're not into art films, I highly recommend checking him out. Other Shea Apocalypse contributors like Lindsay Ellis, Rantasmo, and of course Todd in the Shadows. Angry Joe was another big influence. I really love his stuff, seriously. Stuart Ashen, Ego Raptor, seriously, just the sequelitis and everything else he's done. And by proxy, Game Grumps too. I mean, I've been a huge Game Grumps fan pretty much since day one. And by proxy, also Ninja Sex Party. Not so much with Starbomb, though. I don't know, I'm just not as into it. Extra Credits, another fantastic channel that you guys should seriously all be subscribed to. The Game Sack guys, Jim Sterling, of course, thank God for him. Movie Bob Chipman does some nice stuff. Glove and Boots, of course. Pushing Up Roses, Oni cartoons. Oh my god, Oni cartoons? Guys?
A true saying always sprinkles when it tinkles.
Super Bunny Hop, Dragon Ball Z Abridged, OBS, YourMovieSucks.org, The Happy Video Game Nerd, and his various videos. Seriously, I love that Derek Alexander is one of the few guys out there, spreading at least some positivity and just makes his living out of being a nice guy, Seriously, Derek, to you and your channel, cheers. The Lonely Goomba, 5-second films, Hey Ash, What You Playin', Red Minus, and my last two big faves are pretty much everyone's big faves. Homestar Runner and The Angry Video Game Nerd. Seriously, pretty much everyone on YouTube owes a big debt to these two, so yeah. Good stuff. I know I mentioned a lot of video game, movie, and other various content related channels, and not actually a ton of music related channels. Probably because there's not a ton out there, really. Fun fact, this show, the show that eventually became The Rock Critic, actually started out as an idea to do a video game related show. I don't know, I wanted to do something a lot in the vein of, Zero Punctuation and Spoonie and a lot of those other guys, and talk about video games. But I realized there was already a big glut in that particular department, and I also noticed that there was no one talking about rock music, which is weird because there is so much material to draw from in the rock world, all of the things that have happened both currently and in the past. Jesus, I'm amazed I don't see more shows like mine. Seriously, how are there not like a billion fucking rock critics? Someone could probably make an entire channel chastising Metallica alone. How are there not more people doing this? Seriously.
Can I make fan art of the show?
Sure thing. Hey, go nuts. I'd actually love to see more fan art of the show. No Rule 34. Seriously, guys. Look at what you're working with. Ain't nobody want to see that.
What was your favorite episode to make?
That is actually a very good question. It's hard because, like, every episode has been fun to make, in some capacity or another. Hell, I have a lot of fun doing this. I really do. Why the hell would you do something like this if you didn't enjoy it? It's so much work that you pretty much have to enjoy doing this, or else you just won't. But if I had to pick one, I guess it would probably be my top 10 favorites, my top 10 favorite bands episode. The story behind that episode, well, I had been doing the show for roughly about like a yearish at that point. Like it was more just kind of a hobby at that phase. It was more like I wasn't doing it for like, the subs or the attention or anything like that. And even today I'm still not necessarily. But even then, in the early days, it was more. The show just started off as kind of a goofy little project to just show my friends and to just. It was something to keep myself writing comedy and to keep writing jokes and other stuff while I was between stand-up performances. I was still doing open mics and stuff at the time when I could. But I couldn't get out terribly often due to my schedule, and I was having financial issues at the time. So I did this as kind of a way to supplement that, I also did it because as a comic, I didn't really have any accomplishments under my belt. Usually in stand-up, someone will introduce you by saying a list of the other things that you've done. Oh, he hosts this podcast, or he's the winner of this contest. When I was in stand-up, I didn't have any of that. So I figured, a goofy YouTube show was something someone could introduce me by when they brought me up on stage. I'd been doing it for about a year, and it was just after the Iggy and the Stooges quickie on Ready to Die when I suddenly got insanely sick. I'm a migraine sufferer. And usually I only get them I usually get a migraine once or twice a month, depending on how well I can avoid my triggers and other various things. But after that review, I started getting migraines like every other day. Like literally every other day, I would just get this pulse-pounding, horrifying headache. Plus, my computer, I was editing things. I was doing all of my video creation on a 2008 MacBook. Not a MacBook Pro, mind. Not even a MacBook Air. Just a regular MacBook from 2008. A dinosaur of a computer to be doing video editing on. And eventually it just crapped out on me. It just would not... It wouldn't render footage. Final Cut didn't work right anymore, especially when I had to update to Pro. Yeah, fun fact, the earliest Rock Critic episodes weren't even made on Final Cut Pro. They were made on Final Cut Express. Yeah. I had no idea what I was doing. But I'd gotten sick, my computer crapped out, and I was pretty much down for the count for a really long time, But once the headaches, that weird wave of headaches, actually started to subside after like I say, 4 to 6 months, I finally started coming off of that. And I thought, you know what, I'd really like to get back to doing the show again. I had a lot of fun, making Rock Critic episodes. I should get back into that. So I saved up a bunch of money, and I finally went out and upgraded my computer. I got a new Mac, and I'd come off the show. I had been gone for a long time, and I wrote that episode as a way to just get back into the swing of things, to get back into the rotation of it. And I remember writing that script was just so much fun. It was pretty much every step of that was a blast. I just remembered, I'd been gone for so long. I thought, oh God, do I even really want to do this? Do I still have the chops to even, make this marginally funny? It took like maybe 3-ish weeks or so to finally get that episode completely created. And I was just at the finish line of final edits with that video. Actually, I had just gotten to Rush on the top of the list. Spoiler alert. And I just got into the very last band to edit, and the render went bad. The whole project went completely corrupt. Final Cut basically tried to eat the whole project. Like, when that video corrupted, that was probably the only time I considered giving up the show. Because I'd spent so much time on it, I worked so hard, and I almost lost the whole goddamn thing. And it was goddamn heartbreaking. I could barely even take it. It was just, all that work for nothing. And I figured, I just figured, well, maybe I don't have the chops to do this, Maybe I should just stop wasting my time. Which sucks because I just spent all this money on this computer. People were actually I was just starting to, gain a little bit of buzz, and I was starting to finally hear back from people. People were finally reaching out to me on Twitter and in YouTube comments. They were, the show was just finally starting to gain a little bit of an audience. I would have basically had to do the whole episode over again from scratch. And yeah, that was easily my lowest point. Which, getting to why this is my favorite, I was able to barely resuscitate the episode. Just barely. In fact, if you're watching that episode and paying close attention to it, you can see a lot of, where I just covered up corrupted files with literally just the same image, or other little, rough patches, weird sound dipping out. It's a patchy episode. You can see where I actually, had to stitch things back together in a very crude kind of way. That episode is kind of a Frankenstein in many ways. But the thing is, I was able, like I said, I was able to resurrect it, and I don't know, when I finally got that done and finished and uploaded, that just felt so goddamn good. That was the episode that got me back into the swing of things. That really was an episode that built my confidence more than anything, That was the episode that allowed me to keep going and keep doing this, and I'm glad that I did keep going. The earliest years, when you have literally no idea what you're doing, are easily the hardest when you want to be a YouTuber. And even these days, I'm certainly no expert, and most of my tech and equipment is still pretty subpar. But yeah, just getting over that hump. That episode there was the one that just, that was the one that made me a man, That was the one that steeled my freaking loins and just, that gave me the thick skin I needed to survive, and I'm glad I did that. Yeah, if I had a favorite, I would say it would probably be that one. And Ratitude was a lot of fun too, just because I got to go Super Saiyan. I'm a big Dragon Ball Z nerd, in case you haven't noticed yet.
What are some of your favorite rock subgenres?
That one is really hard. I guess if I had to pick some off the top of my head, I'd probably say early punk and early hardcore would probably be my absolute favorites. I'm just a snotty young punk at heart. I love those early, the super late 70s and the early to mid 80s when punk was just starting to get born, and it was starting to just get good and ferocious, Those were some of the best years in punk, in my opinion. And I always, from back when I discovered it in late high school and college to even now, it's just, I love that genre so goddamn much. I don't know, I'll always be I'll always be a punk at heart. I'm also a huge fan of thrash metal. Just, the big four, of course, Slayer, Megadeth, Metallica, and Anthrax, and all the others. Just that kind of metal that's just fast, ferocious, and chaotic. I've just always had a special place in my heart for that. I guess I'm just kind of a speed junkie at the end of the day. I really like my music fast and ferocious and off the walls. But not always. I'd probably say my third favorite is probably just alt-rock. Stuff like grunge and more mainstream stuff like Foo Fighters. And, there's something... it's... A lot of us knock, mainstream rock. And a lot of mainstream rock does deserve to be knocked. But, I don't know, there's just something about a nice, simple melody and a nice, easy to catch on to hook that I just have a lot of respect for, and I really just enjoy listening to. So, if I had to pick three off the top of my head, those would probably be that I cannot speak. The thing is, I'm willing to give any piece of rock music, or something that could be considered rock, I'm willing to give it a chance. And if it's good, then it's good. I mean, subgenres, and I don't know. I mean, if good music is good, regardless of how we want to categorize it or pigeonhole it. So I try not to limit myself too much in that regard. I mean, I'm on the quest for good rock music, period. Whatever you want to classify it as. If it's good, it'll stand out.
What is your least favorite genre of music?
Country. Just plain and simple, I don't like country. I've pretty much never liked country at all. There's just... And, you know, I'm not saying that country is bad music or that there is absolutely no good country out there. I mean, hell, a lot of the best country, I mean, you know, stuff like Johnny Cash and early Dolly Parton, and I don't know. Like the legends of country, I'm willing to admit, you know, that's really good stuff. I really don't like what country has turned into these days. I mean, Jesus Christ, I mean, country is pretty much just pop these days. It's just pop with a really twangy southern accent, pretty much. I mean, take a pop song, throw on a slide guitar and a banjo, and it's country. Like, I mean, if I were a country fan, I would be so disappointed right now. Like, isn't Taylor Swift supposed to be country, technically?
What's your favorite Rush album?
I can only pick one? Oh, for fuck's sake! God... Impossible to pick just one. Seriously, so hard. Oh, because Rush has so many good albums. But I'm picking 3, okay? I can't pick just one. I can't. I just can't. Top 3, in no particular order. Fly By Night, Permanent Waves, and Moving Pictures.
Beatles or Rolling Stones?
Why not both?
What were some of the first bands you ever got into?
The thing is, I've been listening to rock literally as long as I can remember. Like, literally. I mentioned in my Saint Anger review that one of the first memories that I ever have, like, I mentioned that the start of my conscious self started with Enter Sandman, and that wasn't a joke. Like, literally, one of the first memories I ever have, period, was watching the video for Enter Sandman with my brother on MTV when Mom and Dad weren't home because I wasn't allowed to watch MTV. And yeah, like the way I literally, like when most kids my age were listening to Sesame Street and watching Mr. Rogers, I was watching 120 Minutes and listening to, you know, stuff like Pearl Jam and the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Like, I was a really weird kid. But yeah, the first bands that I got into were literally bands that I would just steal from my older brother's room. My brother and I are 9 years apart. So when I was really little, he was basically a teenager. And I would often, when he wasn't around, I would literally just break into his room and swipe, you know, various CDs, whatever I could get my hands on. I would also take my mom's Walkman, just this giant 90s hunk of plastic. But yeah, I would take those into my closets and literally just, you know, listen to them and just, you know, bang my ears off and just have a great fucking time listening to those albums. Usually I did it in the closet too, just in case. I usually did it when they weren't home. So in case I got caught, I could hide evidence quickly. But yeah, I would usually do it in the closet so I wouldn't get caught, and I really, really loved it. Probably the first 3 albums I ever got into were Metallica's Black Album, Nirvana's Nevermind, and Guns N' Roses' Use Your Illusion 2. Not Use Your Illusion 1 for some reason, only 2. My brother only ever bought Volume 2. I didn't even hear Volume 1 until much later. I have no idea why. Volume 1 is the better record. I was missing out.
What was the first album you ever bought?
Oh boy. Everyone remembers their first, am I right? I actually lucked out pretty well as a kid. A lot of people remember their first albums, and at least a lot of the people I've talked to, it's usually something kind of embarrassing, like maybe it's a Simple Plan record, or like maybe it's like Britney Spears, or like some crappy hip hop album, or just something that when you were a stupid little kid seemed like the best thing in the world, but hasn't aged well with time. I lucked out fairly decently, though it is still a little waka waka-y, I guess. Actually, I remember this. It was because my parents finally noticed that I was, swiping their CD player, and my brother was threatening to kick my ass for stealing his CDs all the time. So my parents finally decided, okay, music is a thing he's into. I mean, let's not fight it too much. So I remember my dad took me to I believe it was a Sam Goody, one of the early music stores, back when music stores actually existed in the physical world. I remember he took me in there and told me to pick out something that I liked from the cassette aisles, because cassettes were cheaper back in those days. So I picked out, I was just getting into, I had seen like those Alicia Silverstone videos from, like the super early 90s, back when Aerosmith was kind of in the middle of their second big comeback, and it wasn't even the Alicia Silverstone videos that I really liked. It was the video for Living on the Edge, which, oh my god, like, seriously, take a minute, pause this video, and look up the video for Living on the Edge. It's fucking bonkers. It's amazingly cheesy. You'll fucking love it. Just trust me on this. Look it up right now, okay? You'll love it. I remember seeing that video and just loving the hell out of it. So I said, oh yeah, I want that Aerosmith tape. I remember him giving me the weirdest damn look. Because Aerosmith was, a band that he liked, when he was growing up. I was a little kid. I didn't know anything. I didn't know Aerosmith was this big band with this big, long history, and I didn't know they were in the middle of a comeback. I just thought, oh yeah, the dude with all the handkerchiefs on his mic. I like that, yay! And, he gave me the weirdest look, but yeah, he bought me. I think he was a little relieved that it was something that he actually knew. And it was an artist that he actually, didn't have to worry too much about being, I could have picked, I could have easily picked Slayer or Metallica, but I picked Aerosmith, and I think that relieved him a little bit. But I do remember, in my house, I wasn't allowed to watch or listen to anything that had profanity. Like, profanity was the biggest no-no I can remember growing, from that young of an age, for obvious reasons. So basically anything with a parental advisory sticker immediately got the no admission, growing up. So even then I was a little worried, because all I'd heard at that point was Living on the Edge, and I think Crying. So I didn't know what else was on this album. I just had those two songs for context. But he actually popped it in the cassette player of the truck while we were driving back home. And I remember being in a panic because I thought, oh no, what if there's cursing? Or what if there's stuff on here that, will make him throw the tape away? I was really nervous. And I remember Eat the Rich comes on as one of the first songs. And Eat the Rich has that, that has a line in it that's, take that Grey Poupon, my friend, and shove it up your ass! Literally, that's one of the first songs on the album. Steven Tyler talking about spreading spicy mustard on someone's butthole. Oh god, the stuff we listened to in the 90s. And I remember as soon as I heard him say ass, I just panicked. I just froze up. I was like, oh no! Oh no, I'm not gonna get this album! But I remember looking over at him, and instead of rage or anger or disappointment or anything, he just looks over at me with just the goofiest goddamn look. He's like, But yeah, I took it home. I was allowed to keep it, and I just love the hell out of that album. I still love the hell out of that album. To this day, hell, I'll stick up for Aerosmith's Get a Grip anytime.
What's the funniest thing that ever happened to you?
This question is actually very easy to answer. When I was a junior in high school, I believe, my high school, which was a very small high school, to give you an idea of how small my school was, my graduating class was 20 people. Seriously, we were tiny. But every year, even though we were ludicrously small, we still had a basketball team. And every year, we would have, like a pep rally, a week-long little pep rally thing for a big game that was coming up. You know how they work. And, every week, every day of that particular week would be a various activity that we would get literally the entire school, not the entire high school, the entire K through 12 school, which composed literally of maybe 200, 300 people. And one of the activities that we would do for the pep rallies was an air band competition, where, you would get like a group of students together, and you would just, they would play a song over the loudspeakers, and you would just like mock sing to it, or, mock dance to it, or whatever. And we did this grade by grade. And it was only the high schoolers that got to do it, participate in it. So it was basically, it was the freshmen versus the sophomores versus the juniors versus the seniors, basically. And the junior year, I was in charge of coming up with the idea. And I decided, there's this Saturday Night Live skit. It's called Lunch Ladyland. It features Chris Farley and Adam Sandler, back when Adam Sandler wasn't fucking terrible. And, I mean, let's face it, I'm kind of a Chris Farley looking motherfucker. Even back then, I was a very Chris Farley looking motherfucker, so, I wanted to do something, and I loved Chris Farley growing up. I was a big fan, so I wanted to do something, from one of his sketches. So I picked Lunch Ladyland. I dressed up in drag in like a big pillowy dress and like a lunch lady apron with a hairnet and like a fake wig. And oh god, it was the costume was horrifying. But in that sketch, it's basically just a song about a lunch lady talking to anthropomorphic, that is a really hard word to say, talking to food, and eventually the climax of the song is a sloppy Joe comes along and she falls in love with it. Again, the 90s were weird. But in the original skit, they're wearing like big foam costumes of the food items that they are. Obviously, we didn't have the budget for that, so in lieu of that, I just had them like have a big bowl of whatever food item that they had, that they were signed, like if they were like chop suey, or if they were like peas or something. They would walk out on stage while I was dancing around, and they would take the bowl and then just belt me in the face with it. I mean, it sounds fucked up, but it was fun as hell, and the audience ate it up. I think bread makes an appearance in that song at some time, and we couldn't think of anything else. We couldn't think of anything to like represent bread, or at least in a way that would be funny. So we wrapped. What we did was we took a wiffle ball bat, we wrapped it in brown, like bathroom paper, like the cheap, crappy brown, grainy stuff. We wrapped it in that, like drew little like lines in it to make it kind of look like a big French loaf. And a guy just came out on stage and just decked me over the head with it. I know that sound, God. Like, hearing it out loud, that sounds kind of fucked up, but, I mean, it didn't hurt. I mean, it made a sound that, like, just shrieked across the room, but it didn't hurt. Like, none of it hurt. It was a lot of fun, and it was goofy as hell. And the audience ate it up. And, yeah, that was a lot of freaking fun. Like, and that's like, by the end of it, like, I'm caked. in just raw food, and like the stage is just coated with this stuff, and like it's literally something out of like an early Nickelodeon show. It was like Double Dare, basically. Even the teachers and the principal were just laughing their freaking asses off. And we ended up winning that year. We ended up winning the Air Band that year. And that was a lot of fun. It was really cool. I wish there was footage of it. I mean, the thing is, I don't have any videotape or just nothing. I have no footage of this thing. And I know there were some people who were filming it. I would kill to get my hands on that performance. But, yeah, I don't have it. I wish I could show it to you. I honestly do, because it was a riot, but I don't have it. If you happen to be watching this, I guess, and we went to high school, and you happen to have a tape of that, I would love to get a copy. If you would be so kind, please leave a comment or an email, fire it my way. I would love to see that again, if only for fucking nostalgic shits and giggles.
Are there any other music-related channels that you can recommend?
You don't like my show? Nah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, like I said earlier, there's just not a ton of music-related YouTubers out there. Or at least none that are like really popular. I mean, a lot of the music-related sites that I watch, at least, deserve way more subscribers. I really wish, like, compared to like video games or movies, I really wish there were more people talking about music, or at least more than it seems we have. There seems to be somewhat of a shortage out there. But a few that I can recommend, or at least some that I like. Of course, Top in the Shadows, his pop reviews. Another channel awesome contributor, the Rap Critic. If you're into hip-hop, he's doing a really good job with lyrical analysis and other good stuff. He's good too. Definitely check out his videos if you're into hip-hop. Another one from Channel Awesome I can mention is Rocked Reviews. Seriously, the dude, Luke Spencer, I believe is his name. Lots of nice reviews, some interviews with some bands. He's doing good work over there. And he deserves way more subs. So, if you're looking for a rock review show that isn't quite as, what's the word? Dick jokey as the stuff I do on my channel, I think you'll enjoy him. Like I said, the dude deserves more subscribers, so definitely send his channel some love. A few others I enjoy would be Consequence of Sound. They're doing a lot of good stuff, particularly with their Masterpiece reviews. I really, really enjoy those. And, of course, we can't forget Anthony Fantano. Over at the Needle Drop, he's doing excellent stuff, too. If you're into metal, Metal Sucks is another good channel to check out. And also the stuff over at Metal Injection is also really good. Those are just some of the music channels that I'm watching. Like I said, there's not a ton. I really wish there were more. But I don't know, those are just some of the ones that I'm watching at least.
What are some of your most anticipated releases for the new year?
There's actually a lot of stuff I'm looking forward to this year. Gang of Four is releasing an album, supposedly. Even though their last one wasn't great, just their minimalist dance punk kind of sound, I've always been a big fan of it. Gojira is releasing another one this year. Deftones, that's a big one I'm looking forward to. Metallica is supposedly giving us a new one, maybe. Cross your fingers hard on that one, guys. Let's hope it doesn't suck. Ghost BC, which... Guys, if you aren't listening to Ghost BC, start. It's awesome. Modest Mouse, I'm really looking forward to that one. There were rumblings that a new Radiohead might happen. I would definitely love to hear that. And, of course, the biggest one. Fucking Tool! Are you guys ever gonna release that fucking album? Seriously! And that's a wrap. Seriously, again... Thank you guys so much for everything you do for the show, for supporting me and this goofy little project for 3 years now, at over 2,000 subs. Holy God, it's crazy to think, but seriously, just thanks, you guys. I really appreciate it, and here's to much more content coming out in 2015. seriously, you guys are awesome. You make the show fun. I love entertaining you. You guys rock. Cheers.